Hey, that's worked. Right, we're live. Hi guys, sorry for the slight delay. I know we're a few minutes late. And welcome to the Tat Chat. Let me just quickly see who was in first. Panzer was in first, so welcome Panzer. We'll dip in the chat in a minute, but first I need to say some quick hellos. As ever, Zahir's with me. How are you, buddy?
Hi Nick, fine, absolutely fine. Enjoying the nice weather today. Actually, it's really warmed up. Sun's come out as well, so yeah,
Good stuff.
feeling smiley.
Exactly. The weather changes your mood so much. It does for me.
Completely, yeah.
And then we are pleased to be able to say we've got Treasure Pirate, otherwise known as Heather, with us. Do you want to say hi, Heather?
Hello. Oh, how strange this is. How lovely to be here.
Yeah, it must be quite surreal to go on a channel that you've watched. It was the same when I went on Steve Raken and chatted with him, chatting with Steve, who I've watched for years now. It just felt odd because normally you're watching and you're voyeur, and then suddenly you're in it, and it's really quite odd.
It's very strange. I keep thinking there are times I talk to the television, but not normally when I'm live.
So yeah, let me quickly say a few hellos and then we will crack on. So we've got Panzer, like I said, who was first in the chat today. Jason, Chelsea is in there. I need to remember to share something about Chelsea in a minute. LDN Bricks, Tom Hall. Oh, sorry, just lost it. Peter Malinky, £400 and down. Dr. Doodle-Doo, Andrew. Lots and lots of people popping in to say hello. So thanks for joining us. Yeah, we just wanted to get Heather on and get to know Heather a bit, find out a bit about what you get up to and see what happens. You're right there, Z, you're looking...
I'm just trying to figure the computer out. It's playing silly bugger again.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
halfway through.
yeah, it's doing all kinds today.
Okay, well, we'll see how we get on.
Yeah,
so,
should be fine.
For anybody who hasn't found Heather's YouTube channel, because you have a channel now and perhaps don't know who you are and what you're about, do you want to do a little bit of an intro and then we'll take it from there?
Oh, okay then. Yeah, I'm known as the Treasure Pirate, and I'm Heather, and I've been reselling for about at least a couple of years now, but properly I would say about 18 months as a business. And yes, I did start YouTubing thanks to these reprobates that kind of got me thinking a good idea to do something like that. I'm far better doing a live chat than I am doing anything recorded because I'm hopeless with editing and technology. Although it probably would have if I learnt where the off button was, because that was my mistake last time. But yeah, I like sharing what I do. It's fun helping people, and you know, it's getting better all the time, really. And the weather being good has made it all the nicer.
Indeed. So just before we went live, was it your son briefly popped in? What does he think about YouTube and his mum being on YouTube? I'm intrigued.
Well, thankfully he's only 10, so I'm still on the right side of not being so deeply embarrassing that I can't even be, entertained. He doesn't watch it, thankfully. He's actually quite keen on the idea of reselling himself. He's started to get the idea that maybe we can sell some of his toys and there's money in it. So I hope to teach him so that he can earn his own money one day.
Great idea. Yeah, well, my daughter Ellen, who is 15, I think she tries to block it out of her mind that I'm on YouTube. I mean, now Andrew's involved as well. We just don't talk about it with her. I think she's mortified by it, the whole thing, to be honest. When she was a little bit younger, going back 2 or 3 years when I started, I think she was secretly quite impressed. But now it's just an embarrassment, to be honest.
That's the difference between 10 and 15. There's a whole lot of embarrassment just waiting to happen.
Yeah, YouTube is her world, you see. She's a YouTube fanatic. And I think the fact that I'm kind of a little part of that world is just weird to her. How are your daughters with it at the moment, Z? Because they're not that impressed, are they? Or are they?
No, they're not. We're not. I'm not the Brutales. We're not. We're not Sarconi Jolies or however we pronounce. Yeah, we're none of those people. I'm not Andrew Arcade. These are the names that are apparently, more impressive somehow. I thought what I do is epic, but the kids don't think so. I mean, they really don't. They don't even think reselling's all that. I mean, they'll take the spoils from it, happy to benefit from it, but it doesn't appeal to them as something that they'd like to do yet.
No, we've tried to get Ellen involved, but I think it's partly the age thing. It's really not the done thing to be up early on a Saturday or Sunday wandering around helping mum and dad at boot sales. But Heather, you think you might be able to get your son interested? Is that part of the plan?
I don't know about the early morning boot sales. I'm usually solo when I go to those. Husband and son not interested, but he's selling his own stuff, and I think if he can see the rewards in it, there's a chance. But if I don't get in before he hits about 13, then it's blown. I've lost it, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, even grown-up resellers have trouble getting to boot sales on time. Sometimes it isn't. We all talk about it, don't we, as a thing, like, make sure you get there early, but it's not easy to consistently do it. I mean, it is if you've been doing it. Like we always do it, but it's so easy to not be early, isn't it? I mean, getting ready and being out the door and being there and awake at 6 o'clock is, because sometimes you think you've done really well because you've gotten there early, but you neglect the fact that you're still half asleep. So even though you're there early, you're just kind of in a zombie-like state, and you're not really benefiting from being there early. So actually getting there early and doing something useful with that extra time is not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah. We've all been at a boot sale where the field just looks like a load of zombies, especially when it's like one of those early winter mornings. There's a bit of fog, and you just see like resellers wandering around, like trying to wake up, coffee in hand in some instances. But yeah, I'm not a morning person at all. That's the irony of the fact that what I do at the weekends involves getting up really early. I was saying to Zahir today, I barely got up before lunchtime today because I was working till about 3 in the morning, just doing FBA. So I'm a night owl, and the fact that we need to be going early in the weekends, it's always been a struggle. How are you
setting yourself up there, aren't you, for a difficult weekend already?
Yeah,
I really struggle. I am not a morning person, and I'm not often there very, very early. But because I tend to be looking for maybe not the things like the computer games, she says, bowing down, and I'm not going for the sort of tech necessarily. That I'm there for clothes and things. Actually, I find I do quite well sometimes by being a bit late.
Yeah,
but I'd say that's quite a competitive environment as well, though, wouldn't you, Heather? I mean, clothing. I mean,
I know guys that do just clothing, and they'll be there queuing up before they start. So I'm not saying you should change your idea and go early.
No.
You may find a different cream of stuff if you did.
Yeah, I'd like to get there earlier, I have to say. I really would like to, but life doesn't always work out that way. But what I do find is that people turn up late and they keep putting stuff out. So I still clean up. There's enough time there.
And how are you with the with your method, your methodology? Let's explore that. How do you approach a store? Are you in there with the elbows, and do you dig into the piles that sometimes people leave all over the floor, or do you look for the stalls where they've kind of neatly taken the time and hung their clothing items?
A lot of the people do hang theirs up, the nearest boot fairs to me, but I tend to just get a bit of a feel. I just look, and you can see the people and the kind of thing that's there, and you think this is a family who are trying to fund their son's trip to Kathmandu or whatever, and that's where I want to go. I don't want to go delving through piles of minging nastiness that's been sat around rubbish for a week. Although you do find things, I've done really well by just actually looking carefully and having a bit of a shifty round and just seeing a colour, a design, a label, something that tells me, these people know what they've got. I've had some great scores from boot fairs, and not necessarily because I've been there early.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. And we all do, we think we can kind of spot one of those stalls that's a genuine family having a clear out, and perhaps they're maybe from a more affluent background or something, and you can just see it, and you're going to find something good.
Yeah, we have a lot of those around here. And you can spot them a mile off. There's a sulky teenager sitting in the car having nothing to do with what's going on, and there's a parent sort of desperately trying to flog stuff off because their kid's off to the other side of the world in 2 months' time, and they need the money.
They're in a big Range Rover or whatever.
Usually some ski boots somewhere, and that kind of thing. I mean, it sounds like we're generalizing, but these are little things that you do pick up on, isn't it? They really are. These are little tells, aren't they? And I mean, do you find that that's one of the ways that you've been more successful at certain stalls, that you kind of prejudge so you can kind of cherry pick a little bit?
Yeah, I'll go along, and it's all there's just something about the energy of the people and what they're doing. They're often not there very early because they've got a recalcitrant teenager, and early mornings aren't their thing either. So you go and start chatting to them and say, start rooting around and go, oh, this is nice, and you just kind of get friendly, and then they start saying, oh well, I've got this woman came out with these amazing jumpers. She just stuffed into an old plastic bag, and they were John Smedley jumpers. Now these things are merino, fine, beautiful, and very expensive. And I bought 5 of them for 20 quid, and I'd made about 250 off that.
But you say that 5 for 20, so unless you knew John Smedley at a boot sale, you'd probably still would. If someone said to you 20 quid for 5 jumpers, I think a lot of people would still be taken aback, because you'd normally expect 5 jumpers for a fiver.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I actually felt, she said, oh, they're really good ones, and I had a feel, and I thought, they are. Yes.
I'm just going to dip in the chat because we're neglecting that a little bit. Lots of chatter going on. Jason says he's smashed the like button already, so he doesn't forget. Thanks, Jason. Oh, Lonnie's in there, Garage Flips. I don't know if you guys caught, I was on Lonnie's channel late the other night. It was a really good chat. So yeah, pop over to Lonnie's channel and check that out if you haven't. He says, Nick, you need a fuzzy hat to complete the Where's Waldo look. I think Where's Waldo is Where's Wally in America, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's my Where's Wally look, apparently. I'll take it.
Well, the Depeche Mode t-shirt's in the wash, isn't it?
Yeah, we were saying before, yeah, I've not got the Mode t-shirt on, but I will be seeing them live shortly. I can't remember the exact date. Can't wait for that. So yeah, lots of people. Swamp Picker's in there as well. Hi, Swamp. Steve Green saying hello. There was a message for Heather somewhere. Oh, it's Lonnie again. It says, Treasure Pirate, can we get an R?
R.
Okay, Lonnie, you got your R.
Yet. I usually here to do that.
Yeah, where did the name come from? Is there anything behind it, or it was just random?
It's just random. It's me. It's what I like. Yeah, very random.
Zahir and I, we just go by our names. We're just that dull.
Well, there's quite a few Heathers on, within the groups, so I had to have something different because Heather is
it's a good
fairly
one.
commonplace.
She stand out in the chats, that's for sure. Lisa's in there. Hi, Lisa.
Yeah. Evil Spartacus says, yeah, you're just about to read that out. Go on, go ahead.
Just said hello. Go on, you read the message.
Yeah, he says you don't really pick up anything good till the 4th time round anyway. He says you don't pick up anything good till, and I mean, whilst I don't fully agree, because you can pick up great things, obviously, first time, but it really does pay to do the laps. It really does pay. I mean, just this this past weekend, I picked up some of my best pickups of the weekend in like at like 9 o'clock or something like that. It was crazy, or just before 9 or whatever it was. But I was there from 6:30, so even though I was already there for like 2 hours, like you said, Heather, people bring things out, don't they? Chris says he's a complete early bird and he's up from 5:30. And should just mention, Shabatron says, watching this whilst waiting for public transport in Manchester city centre. Still major police presence here, by the way. Obviously, with what happened yesterday night, it just horrific, really, is the wide.
Sorry, Z. Before you joined us, we were chatting about that. I was following the news coverage last night.
Yeah,
absolutely shocking. And
it really is. I mean,
because my daughter's friends they have tickets to see Ariana Grande, I think in London, and it just brings it so close to home. You see what I mean? That my daughter's friends could well have been at.
Well, talking about that, my girls came home and said that a couple of the kids didn't come in today because they had actually gone to the concert, because obviously we're not, we're not far from it. So, it's just horrible, isn't it? It's just, there's no other words for it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And our thoughts are with everyone who's been affected.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
Trisha says, I don't bother going early anymore. Getting back to the boot sales, doesn't bother going early anymore. Only traders there first thing. I usually find my bits later. I think that's an important point because depending on what you're looking for, some of us will want to get to the traders because sometimes they are the ones that people have built relationships up with. For example, when Joe Penny's was making videos, I haven't seen one recently, but he mentioned quite often that traders would hold things like footwear and stuff back for him. So he'd be itching, I guess, to get to them and to see what they had for him. So yeah, depending. Whereas if you're looking for, if you are looking at like maybe clothing or something, it's less likely you'd be going to the traders, I guess.
Yeah.
That make more sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, to be honest, a lot of the sellers that are traders will be there in the first couple of aisles, but mixed in will be your regular families. But you are right that the regular families perhaps aren't that bothered to turn up at 6 or 7, and they'll cruise in at 8 o'clock and set up late. And if you can stick around at a boot sale till then, all of the traders that are buying will have moved on to the next one, and that's when you can pick up some late goodies when the late cars come in, and you can be first on hand to take a look.
Yeah, I find some of the house clearance people, because they just don't want to take it all home with them again afterwards, they'll say, just take it away, and there are some amazing little things that people miss.
Absolutely. Southwest Sellers, Nick printed my tickets off last Friday, cannot wait. Fantastic. I've been watching footage because we're talking about Depeche Mode again, sorry. Yeah, I've been watching footage because so many people these days just film the gig while they're there, and I've seen virtually the whole set list on YouTube already. I mean, they do mix it up a bit, so. But yeah, I can't help myself.
Yeah, watching the gig replays to see what they're going to be like live.
I stood behind a guy last week who basically he had his anorak on the whole way through and just stood there in front of me filming the entire concert. And all right, I'm quite glad because it means I can look at it later on. But I thought, how sad! I'm dancing my proverbial bits off, having a good time.
Exactly.
If you're going to go pay good money to go to a gig, you want to be in the moment, not thinking, have I got the right angle, and seeing it through your phone. I mean, I'll grab a couple of clips that maybe for a few seconds, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
I want to be in that moment because
the only clips I've ever taken have actually been of like Beck and us like together, rather than because it is like you want to remember how you're feeling for that split second, really, don't you? Rather than getting some really audio warbled and distorted footage of it's just terrible.
Exactly. Yeah. The footage is never any good. I mean, I'll do a vlog of the day, but it won't be about the footage of the gig because that'll be awful.
Bounty has a question. Bounty S, have you guys been enrolled on eBay Shuttle? It provides discounts on Hermes, UPS, and Royal Mail, all at business rates, and tracking automatically uploads. I've heard of this shuttle thing, but I don't know what it is, and I'm not enrolled in it. What about yourself, Heather?
Again, I saw something about it, had a look at it, and thought, I don't know. It felt like I was being funneled down one avenue that didn't really work. I like what I'm doing at the moment, which is Hermes for most things, and Royal Mail for sort of large letters, and then I use someone else for really big stuff like Parcel Force. So yeah, it didn't jump out at me as being amazing, but maybe I should look at it again.
Yeah, that's news to me. It's interesting if they're providing discount on Hermes and Royal Mail. It could benefit everybody.
I mean, you've got to weigh it up for your business account, haven't you, Nick? Because you do it by like.
Yeah, I doubt I'll get involved, but yeah, for many people, it could be helpful if they're offering discounts across the board. But yeah. So we've got Kirsten in there as well. Hi, and Old Haggis Hunter. Right, well, how's it doing in Scotland today? Greetings from the Baltically cold, lashing rain and windy land of Scotland. Oh, that's harsh. Oh, sounds rough up there. Chris has had to go. See you later, Chris.
Joe selling for pennies is actually in the chat and says, can't see how people are making a good go of boot sales by turning up late. Well, I mean, you can, but I think it depends what you're looking for, doesn't it? It really does. I mean, just like Heather said, it's, you know, she does more than fine by not necessarily being there the first person around. I mean, yeah, if you're looking for certain items, ideally you want to be the first person to be going past every stall to grab whatever you're looking at. But yeah, I mean, overall it is good practice to be early, though, isn't it? I mean, we all get there early.
Yeah, it will depend a lot on the level of competition that goes to your regular boot sales. I mean, I dare say there's a few boot sales out there that are relatively trader free, and you know, you can rock up half hour late or an hour late and still get whatever you're looking for. But it's not the case where I live.
No. No.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
I'm going to ask Heather, actually. You mentioned clothing, and that seems to be your mainstay. Do you branch off outside of that much, or are you clothing specialist, would you say?
Clothing I sort of ended up doing because it's good bread and butter. You can always find it. So charity shops would always have it, and there's plentiful supply, and ours are very good around here, albeit the prices can be a bit tasty. But I really, really like jewellery, which thanks to Texas Scale Treasures, I'm getting more into.
Yeah.
But I like bric-a-brac. I'll pick up anything that just looks interesting. You know, crazy things. And in fact, I thought of Margaret the other day when I found this. There we go. Does that show? This is Gringotts Bank.
Oh wow.
Okay.
It's got a funny hologram in it. You pop your money in there, and the thing just appears to grab it, but it's holographic. But it's in a very battered box. But
wow. Have you researched that one yet? Do you know what money there might be in it?
I don't think it's very much. It's probably about £15–20. But of course, it made me think of Margaret because I know what a big Harry Potter fan she is.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I thought that was right. So I'll pick up anything that looks strange and interesting.
Yeah, it's always nice to pick things up that you know that you have seen others talk about and that are passionate about, because it's that old thing where if someone else gets enjoyment or interest out of it, then chances are lots of other people will too. So it makes sense to pick it up.
Yeah, I just think if something looks interesting, the make of it, the shape of it, if it looks vintage, if I don't know, I just rely on my sort of intuition, really. I'm very much guided by my intuition. I don't research as I go. I just get in there. You know?
Oh, so you don't use your smartphone out and about?
I try not to. The signal's actually quite bad down here, where our fairs are. So I've just got to trust sometimes. Yeah.
Well, Peter Cummins says I got a Gadget Classic for £3, which is something you should look out for if you ever see one, because that is a really amazing pickup for £3. It's a little coffee machine which goes for about 100 and okay, yeah, it's a coffee machine.
And any wazer here can sway the chat around to coffee.
The coffee, yeah. It was the chat. It was the chat. Yeah, it was actually me in another account just writing about coffee. Yeah.
So, in all seriousness, that brand, is that one to look out for? Gadget.
Again, it is, but the classic model definitely. If you see a Gadget Classic, I mean, I've picked them up for as little as, I think I've picked one up for £5. I paid 30 for one, but you will sell them very quickly at 150. Like, and the demand is insatiable. They just don't go. People just want them. They always want them as well.
So Peter's pickup at £3 could be 100, 150 easy.
Yeah, and even if it's broken, they're so easy to part out. And again, the parts are in demand as well. So yeah, it definitely worth picking up for.
Epic find then, Peter.
Yeah.
Wow, blows my mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. People will do that. I mean, the one I got for £5 back then, it was just, the lady was just like, yeah, the water comes out of the steam one, but it doesn't come out of the coffee thing anymore. And instantly, you know, all that is they've never descaled it before. That's what it is. You know, just like looking after a kettle. You do that, and then it works fine.
Kirsten was just agreeing with when we were talking about filming at a gig. She says it's like kids' sports days. You want to be enjoying the moment, not filming it. only to never watch it again. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Joe says, the thing is, I think he's replying to somebody, but it says, the thing is, you are looking for the same stuff as the majority of resellers, and most of us cross over quite a bit items wise. You've got to be the first to see things or they're gone. So yeah, it does depend a lot on what you're picking up. And a lot of what I go for is what a lot of resellers are going for. So I try and branch out a lot and experiment. And what Heather was saying, what you were saying before about seeing something interesting, seeing something just looks unique, looks a bit strange, that's the perfect way to learn, isn't it? And expand your repertoire. Is what is that? I don't know. I'm going to buy it anyway. It's £1 or whatever. And that expands your knowledge every time. Even if it's a fail, you've learned not to pick that up. But while you were researching it, you might learn that there's a different version, or the older one's better, or the modern ones, and just keep expanding.
I mean, there's strange things that come up. These sort of toys that are from the Olympics. This little fella here, he's from Vancouver Olympics. And I mean, I picked him up for 50p. He's called Quatchy, like a Sasquatch. And I mean,
he looks like a Yeti.
Yeah, that's it. He's like a little Yeti there with his. What the headphones are about, I have no idea. But yeah, you know,
they're earmuffs. Surely they're ear warmers.
Probably.
Is it the Winter Olympics in Vancouver? There must be.
Yes, exactly. So I mean, he'll probably get me 15 quid. So not bad for 50p.
There's a lot of Olympics collectors, aren't there? I've had pin badges, like quite old pin badges before from like Moscow 80 or whatever, and they always sold for me really quick. So there's a big Olympics collector scene. So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, if you think something looks a bit cool, is a bit unusual, yeah, go for it. I just think it's such fun. It's what I love best about reselling, and I guess that's why I'm the treasure pirate, because I like finding treasure in the most unlikely places.
Yeah. Just reading in the chat again. Malinki was asking whereabouts are you based? Where in the UK are you?
Oh, me. I'm down in Kent, in Tunbridge.
Oh, okay.
So,
Royal Tunbridge.
No, it's Royal Tunbridge Wells. We're the poorer relation up the road.
Yeah, but you're close enough though to drive there, I guess. Or
yeah, but Tunbridge Wells has Tunbridge Wells prices, and I generally steer clear. Yeah.
Right. Sorry, guys. I'm still reading. There's a lot of chat going on, which is great, but it just means there's strange silences while I read. Do you guys see any questions that we can touch on? Go for it.
I'm being told tech. I can't see the chat. So.
Oh, okay, no problem.
There's actually 148 people, we should say, watching at the moment, which is fantastic. So thank you, everyone for popping in. Shabatron's having an awful bus journey. I'm not going to go into any more details than that because it's just not nice. Actually, Joe's got a question for me, actually. Do you think you can ever be too generous with information? I want to thank you to opening a lot of doors for people regarding electronics, myself included. This is something we could probably all touch on, actually, because it's like a perennial question, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you go first and let us know where you're at currently on it.
Probably I do share like too much because I share everything, but I don't think about it that much, if I'm honest. And the reason I don't think about it is because even with all this wealth of information out there, and a lot of people gaining lots of knowledge. I mean, I get a massive amount of enjoyment from doing it, and I believe in karma. I'm thinking that at some point this will pay back. It's like paying it forward, I suppose. So I love doing it for that reason. I'm not a saint. I don't do it just because I want to give. I'm hoping at some point, karma will somehow repay me. And also, you learn because you give out information. I've learned a lot as well. I get so much help and information. Like we get comments coming through. So for example, like you know, recently Beck put up a video about her jewelry, and the amount of help she got in some of the comments about jewelry was just lovely. And you've got to think that maybe some of that help came because we've given out X amount of help. But more importantly, I suppose, we still manage to find stuff every week. So, you know, it seems to be okay. And there's loads of resellers up here. I mean, like there are well, to be honest, there's loads of resellers everywhere. I think you know, I think there's probably a myth that there's more in some places than others or whatever. I think there's resellers everywhere, and I think you can still go out and find stuff. So, you know, I'm glad that it's helped you out with some electronics and other people as well. So, cool.
Yeah. What's your take, Heather, on this whole kind of culture of sharing and sharing on YouTube about what we do?
I think it's brilliant. I've learned a lot from it, and I like to put something back. And I think it's like Zahir said, it's that kind of paying it forward. It does kind of go around, come around. I think there's enough for everybody. It's, yeah, if I see something, you know, a lot of the stuff I pick up is quite unusual, but I'm happy to share it and say, well, look, if you see one of these, you're not going to see it every week, but if you see it, grab it. Why not? You know, I think it's part of the learning process, and it's what makes us a decent community.
Yeah, I'd concur with most of that, to be honest. I've been attacked for sharing, and I've had a lot of comments about why I shouldn't be and how I'm ruining it for everybody. But that just hasn't panned out. Everyone that I know that's reselling, funnily enough, is doing as well as they were before I started making videos. And in most cases, everyone has expanded and grown as I have. So it certainly hasn't ruined the whole thing. There are definitely items that a lot more people are picking up now, and maybe they are harder to sell because there's more on the market. But that's a tiny, tiny percentage of the things we do. And like you were saying, if you share the more unusual finds and the more interesting items, there aren't many of them out there. So it's not like the market's going to be flooded. It just means people are aware of it, and they might happen to know what it is when they see it. And eBay is such a massive, I don't think any of us can actually comprehend how vast eBay is and how many sellers there are and how many items there are on there. It's a drip in the ocean, I think, the effect that we're having. And the other side of it is, I know I've said all of this before, but I've made some genuine friends. I've had so much more back than what I gave, in friendship, in hints, in tips, in people messaging me and sharing things with me. And yeah, so I've got back way more than I've ever given out. So, yeah.
And actually touching on that, Nick, actually, I wanted to say, if it wasn't for the likes of Burst DIY, Mike, yourself, Tom the English Picker, and you know, all the Americans that I used to watch, like Gil Mama and Gil Daddy and Scavenger Life, if it wasn't for you guys sharing, I would never have had the guts to have, you know, done what I did, and now what Beck's doing, and which has made us so happy. And then it just feels only right that you do the same again for someone else, doesn't it? It just feels like you have to, you know, you've been given this chance, and then you kind of feel like you can, like I said, pay it forward. It just feels like the right thing to do more than anything.
And however much you share, so much of it is down to someone working hard and having the right attitude. And it isn't just about handing things on a plate. People have still got to go out and source the stuff. They've got to pay the right price for it. They've got to list it. They've got to keep going when sales are absolutely rubbish and crash through the floor. Those kinds of things are not, so it's not going to be for everybody anyway.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, I could print up a list of all the things that I look for and give it out willy-nilly, freely. But what all those people that have that list still need is a work ethic. They need motivation. They need to be able to think outside the box on how to be the one to find those things, how to put yourself in the right place, how to strike up a conversation with somebody that leads on to a deal. All those things that I can't teach you. I can't teach anybody that. Having a list of items to look out for is not even half the battle. It's nowhere near. So yeah, you're right. And it's not for everybody. And it involves an awful lot of hard work, which puts a lot of people off. So
yeah. People don't always see, you know, like the epic fails, the stupid things that I've done. Picked up a Disney scene. It was all taped up in the charity shop. It was only £2, so I thought, thank you very much. Got home, no bloody disc. Well, there you go.
Did you take it
failed,
back?
but overall, I haven't. No, I mean, I go to them quite regularly, and I've made good money out of them, so I wouldn't. But you know, it happens. You can be in a hurry. You're rushing. You're not. Yeah, we all do it.
Yeah, board games are terrible for that. I had a really nice. I was chatting to somebody who messaged me about that. I found a really nice vintage Buccaneer a couple of weeks back, which was a good £40 game, and it was a really pristine, nice looking box. When I came to check that, it had been ravaged. There was so much missing. It's not even worth selling, you know, as incomplete. It's not even half a game. So yeah, it happens. It happens a lot. But it was only £1 at a car boot sale. So you just say, okay, you just chalk it off and move on. It's like, so what?
Yeah, it's seen the bigger picture with it. It's been able to say, look, overall, I make money out of this. So that the fact there's some losses and some gains, you have to stand back a bit and see the bigger picture and think, yeah, this is making me money. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Right, just reading a bit in the chat.
People are sharing the most overpriced items they've seen in.
Oh, your mic just went to here.
Has it? Okay.
It just went all crackly, mate. I was going to just touch on that. The other thing about sharing and the side effect of that is, now I'm part of this community, and anybody who puts themselves out there to make videos is generally welcomed into that community, and we all, you know, we share what we do, and it gives you that kind of work colleague thing that none of us actually have, because we sit in our little offices and, you know, and we go out hunting generally on our own. I mean, I'm lucky that Andrea comes with me and we have that, but beyond that, we're very isolated. And what this has given me is a bunch of work colleagues almost, which is invaluable to me.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, I've worked for myself for many years. So the idea is, you know, I could take myself to my own Christmas party and fire myself. But, you know, the thing is, it is nice. I can say, yeah, they're people I work with. And it's nice to be able to talk about it, because you could bore the arse off somebody otherwise. So I try not to bore the arse off my friends and family. So I can do it with you lot. That's lovely.
Yeah, we've all had the moment when you get together with friends and they say, what have you been up to? So you launch into your latest find, your latest sale, and they instantly glaze over, and you're like, ah. They just, unless you're in it and you do it and you understand, it's pretty dull to talk about. So yeah, that's what we all gain out of this, is the fact that, you know, I can ring up to here and say, you'll never guess what I found, and that sort of thing. And Zahir's as excited as I am. Likewise, if Zahir rings me about a sale, I'm like, no way, and then we get excited about it. And I don't have that with most of my friends around here, you know, because they're just not into it.
No, it's good to have that. You want to share it and let off steam. And my husband, bless him, he's very tolerant, but he is never going to come round charity shops or boot fairs with me. It is not his game. I'm fine with that. Just let me go on my own, and I'm a happy bunny.
So what's his view on what you do now then with the whole reselling? He must understand how it all works and support you in some way.
Oh, he likes the money. I can take us on holiday. He likes that, but he just doesn't want to do it with me. He doesn't want to be involved.
That's cool. Right, let's see what we've got going on in the chat. If there are any questions, how are we doing for time? Oh, we're okay. We've got about 20 minutes to the hour.
Kirsten's Curiosity's got a question. Well, like a comment question. She had the day off, ended up listing. Can you ever switch off? So Heather, can you ever switch off?
Well, I tried to. I made a separate office, and I wasn't going to sit there on my laptop, kind of like listing while the program was running and trying to do several things at once. But in reality, no. Of course you can't switch off. You're always wondering.
Yeah.
Checking the phone.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just it, isn't it? Even when you've taken yourself away from the office or wherever and you're sat down in front of the TV, you're still going to glance at your phone every now and then to see whether you've had any sales. I mean, in a shop equivalent, that's, you know, exactly, it's just something you do. I mean, it is hard to switch off. I mean, Nick, I mean, you're obviously working till 3:30 in the morning. That answers that question.
That's just more my bad time management. I'm terrible at getting going in the morning, as in I'll have epic lay-ins, which just means, but once I get going, I just keep going until I'm knackered and then stop. Hence, I was still going at Gone 3 last night doing FBA. So that's more time management than anything. But I think to be successful, a successful self-employed person in whatever sort of avenue you take, you kind of have to throw yourself into it, and it becomes your life in some way. So that's part of why we find it hard to switch off, because we are that committed to it, and it's such a big part of our lives. I think it goes hand in hand, really. But it is a constant battle, the work-life balance thing, and I don't think I'll ever get it right, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not very balanced. I mean, I can't quite switch off. But I mean, it's a lifestyle choice. I'm doing something I love and I'm making money doing it. So that's fair enough. But there are times when I think, yeah, maybe my son would benefit from a little more time, quality time with me. But I do my best and he forgives me.
That's a great quote, that one, Heather. I'm not very balanced. I need a t-shirt with that on. That sums me up. I'm not very balanced at all. Peter Cummins says he's one donut short of a Simpsons Monopoly. There's another great reseller t-shirt. I'm a donut short of a Simpsons Monopoly. I've got to get on Amazon merch. I could make a fortune.
Oh yes, gosh, I like that idea, but I'm not brave enough yet.
Yeah, I haven't had my application accepted.
Is it here in the UK now or not?
No, I've applied to the American. I foolishly waited thinking, well, they're going to set one up in the UK or a Europe-wide one or something, which I'm sure they will. Meanwhile, the likes of and others have already got registered on the American site.
I don't know what your opinion on that is, but I just get the feeling surely that was definitely one that you needed to be there first. Because surely it's now just going to get so saturated, and they put limits on the amount of designs you can put out and all this kind of stuff. It would be so difficult to get going now, wouldn't it? Or
I think they will have to have some sort of system that allows new, fresh designers and people to come in. Otherwise, it will get stale very quickly. They'll have to allow new people in, and as long as they've got fresh new ideas, those shirts will sell, and then they'll allow them to tier up. But if they kind of have a cut-off point, it'll ruin their business. They need new ideas. They need the youth to keep coming in with their new bands, their new phrases, their new whatever it is, to keep it alive. So they must have thought about that, surely. Yeah,
I think they have, because if designs don't sell within a certain time, I seem to remember Margaret saying that, they just get dropped. So anything that's not shifting just gets dropped quite quickly. So that means there's always room for new stuff to go on. But coming up with the original ideas, timely enough, it's got to be really topical, hasn't it? You've got to get in fast.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of that whole system. It's such a clever idea, that somebody can see a trend, spot a trend, and then quickly do something in Photoshop, send it up to Amazon, and that's it. A t-shirt's available for anyone worldwide to buy, just like that. It's such a genius idea, and I hope they do bring out a UK one or a Europe one, and we can all hopefully get in there on that and have a go.
Yeah, because much as I love the t-shirts, the cost of the shipping, to get, if you want to buy one and get one over here, you're paying more in shipping than you are for the t-shirt. So I hope they do one here, because if you've got a particular niche in a certain area that you've got lots of ideas for, I'm itching for there to be a UK one or at least a Europe one. Yeah,
I'm sure they will, because you think of the hundreds of niches that are British related or UK or Scottish related, that if you did your designs and put them on the American site, who's going to pay the extra 15 quid shipping or whatever it is? Whereas if they did set it up in the UK, I guess they're learning, as with most things Amazon, they learn in the States, they learn from their mistakes, they get it right, and then they spread it around the world. So yeah, fingers crossed they will. That it's making them a load of money, so they carry on and do it over here. And we'll see. Fingers crossed. Oh, hang on. Peter says he's one white hexagon short of a Blockbusters. I have some of those. PM me. Yeah. Joe says, thanks for all you do share, guys. I'm growing year on year, and that's largely down to the community. So there you go. That kind of sums up why we do this, I guess. And I've always been happy to help others. I don't know. It's just the way I am anyway. So that gives me pleasure.
Yeah.
And I still get regular messages from people that say, why on earth are you sharing what you do? Why are you shooting yourself in the foot? And I'm still here making a lot of money, so I've not shot myself in the foot.
Well, that's the thing, exactly. I mean, I'm doing better now than I've ever done before. Joe says he's growing year on year. Nick, you're doing better now than you have done in a while. I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. But, yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
We're working less hours and making same
More
if not
money.
more
Yeah.
money.
And I think that's where you put like a little asterisk at the end of Joe's comment there. You know, largely down to the community, asterisk, and a lot of bloody hard work, because you know Joe does put in a lot of work, you know, he stays on the ball with things and is aware, and that's what you need to be. You know, there's a reason why when Joe was knocking the videos out, they were so immensely popular, because you know, quality wise, week after week, to bring the kind of items back from the boot sales. And if anyone wants to talk about competition, you're not going to get much more competition than slap bang Southeast London, are you? You know, there's probably more resellers per square inch there than there are in a lot of places. So
I don't know. I sometimes think they all live in Hitchin when I go to the car
yeah,
booth.
we all think they all live near us, don't we? I bet Heather thinks they're all down her neck of the woods, and I'm like, oh, they're everywhere. It's just the way it is. The grass always seems greener, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's certain faces and certain people I just can't escape. It's like there's a route I go on a Sunday sometimes, and you see the same people at every boot sale. So it's like we're just following each other around. And it's like, so sometimes I mix it up and try and go the other way. But yeah, if you're scared of competition, this is not the game to be in, because there's always going to be someone getting a better deal than you. There's always going to be somebody just there before you on a stall. I was at a stall and I watched somebody pick up a Hero Quest a couple of weeks back.
Oh.
And walked off with it, and that was £3. But I bought what was left, and I got, you know, a couple of £100 worth of games and toys for about 20 quid. So it was fine. So you just have to concentrate on what's actually happening. You can't do anything about the fact that that guy had a great day and got a Hero Quest, maybe £100 plus for £3. But that's gone. Move on.
Yeah. I mean, actually, how do you cope with that? I mean, I call it in your facing. Like when I'm walking around with Rebecca and I see something that's happened in front of me, I'm like, Beck, I just got in my face big time. You know, it just feels like in my face, but I do just carry on going. I mean, Heather, how do you cope with, you know, when you see someone pick up something just epic in front of you, and you just have to clench your fist?
Yeah, you just have to say to yourself, right, okay, that wasn't meant for me. There's something better. Keep moving. Get on with it.
Just slap yourself out of it.
Yeah, just suck it up. Get on with it. But the thing is, you know, I find if I'm in charity shops, I mean, all right, yes, I'm in Kent. I'm in where the charity shop prices are extraordinary. Really, really amazing. But what I do is I will go and look at the things that are going to go under the radar. So I'm trying to look for the less obvious brands, the bric-a-brac, they're not going to know what they've got, the stuff at the bottom of the toy box. I'm not going to go and try and find, you know, some amazing brand, because they'll know. They know Levi's, they know and you see, I hear them chatting and they're all sort of saying to each other, oh, well, yes, we saw this go for so much on eBay. And I think, yeah, but, you know, it doesn't work like that. And you'll get an ambitious manageress that suddenly whacks everything up and you think, oh, she's new, whacks everything up to top dollar. But, hey, you know, you just have to think, you know, next week I might strike lucky, there'll be something in here that's amazing.
Exactly. Well said. Can you guys carry on? I've got a really dry throat. I've got to go and get another drink.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
Beer then.
Yeah, just going through the chat. We've got 153 people watching now. I think there's a comment here about the fees. Nikki F says we must put up with a lot since the eBay shop fees rose a couple of months ago. I've been making like £20. My fees are about 85. So lost over £150 in the last 2 months. Can't afford this. How have you handled the whole fee increase, like the shop fee increase? I mean, what's your attitude towards it? Do you just accept it as life?
Yeah, well, in a way. I mean, obviously, when I first saw it was like, ugh, you know. Yeah, I had a moment when I was less than adult, but then you just kind of think, look, this is my living, and they've got the market cornered. Let's be honest. I just got to try and find better stuff, get more stuff listed, make better use of the shop, order their lovely boxes, which I did. I got some lovely eBay boxes. Fantastic. and they had their branding on too. And yeah, you just got to build it into your business plan and think, okay, got to charge more, got to make more, got to do more.
I think that's a really nice point, actually, you made there, Heather, that you're allowed to have that little childish moment at first, aren't you? You should allow yourself that initial kind of intake of breath and like, oh my God, I can't believe they've raised the cost. And then now that the VAT's going to be added onto the fees as well. So that's another 20%. So you're allowed to have that initial moment, but it's how quickly you then regain control and then work out, like you said, okay, I'm going to have to just factor this in. That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, it's how am I going to deal with it? I mean, the thing is, I'd only just gone up to the next level of shop. I'd only had it for a very little while. So it was like, I haven't got so many on there. So I might even be running at a bit of a loss. But it's like, I'm going to get bigger. I'm going to keep going. This is a long-term plan. This is not about this month.
No.
It'll be all right if I work hard enough.
And use those little things that are out of our control to motivate us to work that little bit harder, to work that little bit smarter, to perhaps tweak what we do, which I'm constantly trying to do, because I'm the least efficient reseller you'll ever meet is me, and I'm constantly trying to get better at that. And yeah, little things like those price rises make you think, okay, I need to sort out X, Y, and Z to counteract that. But yeah, the things that are out of your control, you need to give a little bit of headspace to deal with it and then move on, because there's nothing you can do about it.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a worrier, so I kind of think it'll be all right. My motto, and my motto always is, it'll be all right, because it usually is. And I'm not a worrier, so I've got better things to do with my time and energy than stress about every penny. I think overall, I'm still making money. I'm still enjoying what I'm doing, and I want to do it better.
Exactly. Well put.
Yeah,
Comment. Oh, sorry, I was just going to read Jason.
Yeah, sure.
He works as a gardener for his local council. He does 42 hours a week. It's a hard job, but reselling is just as hard or harder. At least at work, I finish at 4:30 p.m. Reselling, I can still be at it at 1 a.m. Yeah, a lot of the part-timers put so much work in when you think they're obviously doing their 9 to 5. You know, Joe's obviously a great example, because we've all heard, you know, that he gets up super early, does a load of listings before he goes to work, and then lists at his lunchtime. And you know, it's some of those guys are more impressive than what we do in some ways, because they have to fit it in around a full-time job as well.
Yeah, they're not part-timers, they're like ultra mega full-timers, really, if you think about it.
A time and a half.
They're doing like double the work of most people do. So yeah, definitely. But that's the kind of effort, I mean, just like Jason said there, that, you know, reselling, he finds it just as hard as his pretty, you know, physically intensive day job, and it is intensive in other ways, isn't it? It's not, you know, it just stress levels wise, and you know, I mean, how have you found that, Heather? I mean, have you found it to be stressful reselling when sales haven't gone as well, or are you kind of able to...
Yeah, you know, it's like, well, yeah, there are moments of stress. I mean, today has been a sale-free day, which is not what I really want, but it's been a bit of a rubbish week. But on balance, I can have one day where it can be extraordinary, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. So I kind of think, well, me stressing about it isn't actually going to change it. I just need to keep listing, keep doing photography, keep getting onto it, and that's what I try and do. But it's interesting, because although, I mean, things like trying to run a family, well, I say run a family, but, you know, manage a family as well as do it. That's my balance, is trying to think, well, I've still got to feed people. The washing's still got to be done. There's a stack of ironing, but some of which is mine. Yeah, you know, it's trying to, remembering to pick the child up from school. Believe you me, that can be quite difficult when you're in the middle of a photography session. You suddenly go, Jesus, is that the time? And you fly out the house and think, I didn't lock the back door. And it's like, but you just do it, you know, it works out all right in the end.
Hands up who's forgotten to pick their daughter up from school.
But mine wasn't for really any good reasons. Mine was just forgetting, genuinely forgetting, and then realizing, wait a second.
The school had to ring me up. It was like, Mr. Hills, I've got your daughter. I'm like, no. This is ages ago.
Yeah, I haven't done that, but maybe that's being a mum. I don't know. But it's been close on a couple of occasions. Bad mum.
Abatron in the chat says, if it wasn't for Nick Zahir and Ben Fitzpatrick, I wouldn't be selling as much as before. Thank you, people. Appreciate that. And then he says, it was only by chance I found Nick's videos. I often wonder how people stumble across the community. What search brings us lot up? I guess it's car boot sale or something like that. The chap we met in, I don't know if you saw it in our hangout, we met a guy called Gary when we were out. We went to a jumble sale and then we did a bit of charity shopping. And I met this chap and he said he searched car boot sale and I popped up. So yeah, I guess that's a search term that, invites people into this little world.
I think that's how I found you guys, because I was already doing reselling, but had no concept there would be a community or channels or things to watch. I was just selling odds and ends, furniture, stuff I found. And it was, once I suddenly realised, well, there are other people doing this and it's not just me, being mad. It's quite helpful.
Yeah, I think we've all had that moment. I certainly had that moment going back, whatever it is now, 3.5 years. And I can't remember what I searched, to be honest, but I found bona fide hustler. And then as Zahir had a similar sort of story. And I found him and Dallas Moore and Gil Daddy and those guys. And then it was like, where are all the Brits? Where? Yeah. And then eventually I found Tom, who just started doing sort of reseller related videos. His history was in doing videos about coins and gold, which isn't my thing. But when he started doing his reseller ones, I was like, that's what I do. Hang on. And then, I just had a go and got to know Tom very early on. And it all snowballed from there. Kirsten says her husband is really supportive, but I find it difficult to talk to anyone else. Yeah, it's often a difficult thing to talk about. A lot of people just don't get it, or they think selling secondhand stuff's a bit sort of, nah. Some people just don't like the whole thought of it, I think.
Yeah, it's just not occurred to them. They don't know it's a thing. They're just like, really? And I thought, well, when you go and look on eBay for something that's been used, someone's selling it to you. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Who's finding all this stuff and putting it up? Yeah. How are we doing time-wise? Oh, okay, we've been on an hour, so we'll see if there's any more questions, and then we'll slowly wrap this one up. Stephen says his questions are far too silly to be answered. I've missed them. What were they? I don't know. I can't see those.
People are talking about how they actually found you. Actually, I found Nick by searching eBay UK resellers. I found Nick from searching car boots. Sib K says I found Z by searching for grumpy old man coffee.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah. I found,
You've got to change your channel name now.
Grumpy old man coffee story. Yeah, I don't think that's them.
I'll get the t-shirt done when I come up.
Separate channel. Oh gosh.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Lots of people saying how they found the community. I found Jay and Nay. This is Liz says, I found Jay and Nay, and through them I found Margaret, and then the rest kind of followed. Yeah, that's the cool thing about YouTube, the way they do it now. If you stumble across one reseller, quite often it will recommend others. So if you find my channel, there'll be Zahir recommended and Ben, and it's like a little rabbit hole, and you just, it's great the way they do that. They put associated channels next to others, don't they, and recommend them.
Yeah, the only danger now, of course, is there's so many channels out there. You can spend so much time watching and not enough time listening. And I try to watch while I'm listening, but it doesn't always work very well.
I've been just trying to listen to music now and work that way, because I used to try to just put a YouTube video on whilst working, so like put on one of the reseller channels and just watch a video, but inevitably I just end up just sitting down in front of it watching what people had picked up, etc. So now I've had to force myself to just put on like Magic or something, and just let it rip with its 80s goodness while I'm
that's always good.
I was going to say
that's Rebecca's fault. That is Magic. It wasn't. Yeah, that's her influence.
The podcast format. I remember Fake Rachel dabbled in that for a while, and I watched Ronnie Hart had one of Heart Pickers the other day where he just talked at blank screen, so you're not tempted to sit down and watch. And yeah, that's a really good format. I don't know whether I'll have a go at that, but it means you're not tempted to stop work and sit down. It's just like having the radio on, but they're just talking about what they've picked up, what's happened that week, or whatever it is.
Scavenger life, scavenger life, exactly. But see, that's all very well, but I'm the kind of person then just will have the podcast running while I'm then just searching eBay listings and stuff randomly. So I'll still end up sitting in front of the computer. So that's why I've had to, adjust it for myself.
I do like to see things as well. If I see visually a label or a pattern and someone says that's in, it kind of gets locked in my files, so it stays there. Whereas if I'm listening, I can't always. I'm then having to spend time trying to picture what it is that they're talking about. Too much hard work for my poor little brain.
Right, I think we should wrap up now. I've just seen Kirsten's gone. Bye, Kirsten. Probably too late. Yeah, how are we doing? Yeah, it's 5 past.
Yeah,
I think we've managed to cover some of the questions we've got. Sorry if we didn't get to your questions. It's really hard to keep up with the chat. We get so many viewers, which is fantastic, but the chat just goes flying past. So thank you so much, Heather, for braving the chat and coming on. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure. And thanks,
it's been brilliant. Yeah, it's been a brilliant chat. Really enjoyed talking to you, actually, Heather. It's been really interesting to see how you've kind of joined the community and it's a great example of what it can do, I suppose, for all of us. So
yeah, makes it even more fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So thanks ever so much for joining us. We will be back next week with one of our non-guest weeks where we will just ramble, and we will be back tomorrow night because there's a little bit of an event going on, which I'm sure you're all aware of. Yeah. I know. Until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for your comments and your questions. If you do enjoy what we do, as ever, please give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. It just lets us know that people are enjoying the content and we're doing something right. If you don't enjoy it, you can always thumbs down. It's fine. And we'll see you tomorrow and then Sunday with Andrea. So thanks. Cheers, Heather. Cheers to here. See you soon.
See you later.
Bye.